let's face it, I was on a quest to have that rifle pulled from the market because I believe truly that it was a safety concern. So how did I come to this conclusion? Let's go over how things went from my point of view. Alright, so at I think it was 10,000 subs, I was looking for a 50 cal because that's typically what people do to grow their channel because people like to watch 50 cals go off. They're impressive. My girl had found one, and it was one called an RN50. I'm looking at this thing and I'm like, no, babe, it's a 50 caliber zip gun. I don't want anything to do with that. That thing looks dangerous. That was the last I looked at it. About a year later, Scott's rifle explodes in his hands. Damn near kills him. He's lucky to be alive. Like, that is one impressive dude. I can't believe he survived that. And that goes on to the next part, which is confirmation bias. When I seen that rifle blew up, I was like, I knew it. I knew that thing was a safety risk. I got confirmation bias that it was, and now I'm like, this has got to be pulled from the market. People are going to get hurt with this rifle out there. They need to just pull it. Cut their losses, pull the rifle. So I did my videos, which I'm going to pull like as soon as I'm done shooting this because I just seen the debunking video. As soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to pull my videos because I might have been a little premature. But anyways, they were basically doing, I forget the name of the creator. It's Ziakri. I'll post it right here. Anyway, because it was really two scenarios. Either it was the rifle's fault or it was Scott's fault. Whether that's from purchasing bad ammunition, whatever. The point is they did a debunking video proving that it wasn't the rifle's fault. Because my main concern was bore obstructions. I'm like, if this thing fails and that round was not loaded with RDX, and I didn't believe it was, because a 50 cal is actually quite a large container. If that was loaded with RDX, it would go off like a hand grenade. Like, literally like a hand grenade. Like, boom! The barrel should have split in multiple pieces. Scott should have been missing, like, from here up. So I don't think it was filled with RDX. I could be wrong. It could have been a smaller charge of RDX. But I'm like, okay, so that looks like a smokeless powder explosion. It wasn't filled with RDX. The cap blew off. And the same thing's going to happen over and over and over again every time one of those rifles has a bore obstruction. Well, this video right here, they did bore obstructions, and it split the barrel. And I did not see that happening. I assumed if you got any bore obstruction whatsoever, the path of least resistance would be just to rip the cap off. They proved that to be false. It was actually able to split the bore. Take that as you may. Yes, they didn't get a split case, and Scott did get a split case, and that might have been the linchpin for everything. Maybe you got to have a split case to blow the cap off, but that's not what I was worried about. I was just worried about standard bore obstructions, because they happen all the time. For example, in my snow test, when I throw the rifle in the ground, there is a bore obstruction. There is snow inside the bore. Rifles are typically strong enough, with minor bore obstructions, they can handle it. And I think in that particular video, they went way above and beyond the normal expectations of what a rifle should be expected to handle with a bore obstruction. So again, I'm sorry. I honestly thought like any bore obstruction whatsoever would have caused that cap to blow off. Because looking at the cap strength compared to the rest of the barrel, I felt the rest of the barrel was much stronger than the threads on the cap. So, if you would have got a bore obstruction, this is the place that it would be easiest to fail, and that's how things fail. They find the weakest point, and that's the part that breaks. So, they prove that, yes, the cap is stronger than the barrel, as long as you don't get a split case. I don't know if a split case by itself would make the difference, because we can't ignore the fact that Scott's rifle blew up. Again, I don't think there was RDX in that case because the brass was still in one piece. There was just one little crack at the back where it split. So, we can't ignore the fact that Scott rifles blow up. That did happen. That, as far as I'm concerned, was not fake news. His rifle really did blow up. I was just concerned more about what if you get a bore obstruction. Now, a combination of problems, that can happen with any gun. Typically, what'll happen when you have a combination of problems is the gun just pukes out the barrel because the barrel is lighter than the action, which is connected to the stock, which makes it heavier than the barrel, so the weak point would be around the receiver, and instead of the action flying back at you or the rest of the rifle flying back at you, it just pukes the barrel forward. So I think that test goes way above and beyond what the rifle should be able to handle. That's the point I'm trying to make. So, like I said, the debunking video was made. Yes, they didn't have a case head separation, but, I mean, I would still like to see a case head separation, but I don't need to see it to call that rifle as good enough to be safe for general use. They should just simulate one, like take a little drill bit and drill a hole in the back of the case without a bore obstruction and see if that actually makes a difference. Just to make sure it can handle a case head separation, but they're so incredibly rare. I've only seen a handful of them my whole entire life. So case head separations are incredibly rare. But yeah, I would still like to see it, but more as like a test of just because. I still wouldn't require that to consider that rifle safe enough to be on the market. Will I buy one? No. Just because the cap is lighter than the barrel, the cap has no choice but to go to the rear. There's not enough weight supporting that cap to make the barrel go forward instead of the cap going rear. Am I saying you shouldn't buy one? No, you can buy one. That's fine. I'm no longer on a crusade to shut that down. And again, I apologize to Mark Sabu. Like, I shouldn't have went on a crusade until the facts were out there. But I did. So, I'm sorry for that. I should have waited. But anyway. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, because the bore obstruction is what really concerned me. Yeah, if I were to stack up the right amount of problems and simulate exactly what happened to Scott, the cap would come back. But you're looking at multiple failures added up on top of each other. I just was mainly concerned about bore obstructions. Yeah, if you had a bore obstruction, plus you had the case split, yeah, then maybe the cap will come to the rear, but you would like I said, you would have to have multiple problems happen at the exact same time in order for that to happen. The most common problem people run into is just bore obstructions. It was able to handle that, so I am okay with that. Again, I'm not going to buy one just because my luck, I'll wind up setting up the exact circumstances that happened to Scott's, and we already know what's going to happen should those stars line up just right and the moonlight comes down and hits the rifle. It could be fatal. I have bad luck. I'm going to stay away from it. I'm going to get something where the action is wrapped in steel, so everything has no choice but to go forward. Even if that's ripping the barrel off of the receiver and sending the whole barrel forward, everything is still going forward away from me. Because again, I just don't want to roll the dice like that. If you want to, you can. I'm no longer on a crusade to shut it down. That's where I'm at right now, so I'm literally going to finish recording this, go delete those videos. And one more time, I apologize, Mark Sabu. I kind of jumped the gun on that because I didn't think it could even handle a bore obstruction. But the fact that it can handle a bore obstruction, I'm okay with it. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, got my Patreon right there. I also have affiliate links in the description down below. Just by clicking on those links, even if you don't purchase what that particular link is for, just clicking on it and doing the Amazon shopping you were already going to do anyway. A little kickback for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.